Hi, welcome to my first video on my YouTube channel. This channel is about Wicca and witchcraft in general. I've been practicing the craft for about 13 years now, actually over 13 years now, and I just want to show you some of the books in my collection and share some of what I know so you can get to know me a little bit. So the first book I want to show you is this one here. Book of Shadows is the first book about witchcraft that I read. It's not a how-to guide, it's more this author's, Phyllis Currit's, experience getting into witchcraft and what happened to her and where she is now. It doesn't tell you how to do anything, but it's a lot of information and it really got me started. From here, the next book that I read was actually The Spiral Dance. I don't know if you can really see that, it's kind of dark. There you go. By Starhawk. This is a classic. Every witch I think should read it. That's my opinion. It's really goddess focused, and I think that's missing from a lot of these spell books that you find. It doesn't really talk about the religion part. So every witch should have this on their bookshelf. Again, in my opinion. And then from there, I actually picked up this massive tome. This is also a classic. It is A Witch's Bible by the, I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name, Fairs? Anyways, so much information. It's actually 2 books in one. I don't know if I can find the break for you. Yeah, so the first part is, I don't know if you can see that, the Sabbats and rites for birth, marriage, and death. This was also published separately. I know on Amazon you can find it separate as 8 Sabbats for Witches. And then it's also Principles, Rituals, and Beliefs of Modern Witchcraft. Again, also published as The Witch's Way separately, if you want to get the 2 separate editions, I guess. I like it as a big fat tome. And it kind of goes over some of the details on the back here, if you can read that. I don't know if it's too fuzzy. But everything, how to do everything. And it is for covens, but you can adapt it to be just for your own practice, which is what I do, especially like the opening ritual. I have a bookmark there still. The opening ritual, again, that's really designed for a group setting, but you can just sort of tailor it and just kind of whittle out some of the things that aren't really applicable, but amazing. And every Sabbat I come back to this and get inspiration for my own rites. Another classic, bookmarks in like everything. Another classic is The Holy Book of Women's Mysteries by Zuzana Budapest. Classic. Women focused, goddess focused. A lot in here, some that I don't 100% agree with, but I mean, you're never gonna 100% agree with everything. It's just information that you can use if you want, or take inspiration from. I mean, I'm not gonna stop eating sugar or meat, sorry, which is in here, but to each their own, right? But a lot of really good information in here. So, some books for beginners. Well, a book for beginners. Scott Cunningham is awesome. He has a really clear, basic, straightforward approach that's very easy to use to get started. And it's for solitaries, which is nice because I have practiced as a solitary primarily. I have done group rituals, couple rituals, small groups, big groups, private, public. I just like doing it by myself, but that's how I am. And some really cool ideas in here. Like I just opened this randomly and it's talking about the Mirror book, just a magical record of your progress in the craft. Very cool. I've got like thousands of, well, not thousands, but a lot of books that just have records of what I've done, what's happened, what I liked, what I didn't, things like that. And there's some recipes in here too for incense that are really good. Some of his other stuff, so building on this book, are things like incense and oils and brews. Lots of good ideas in here for recipes, as well as even for things like inks, if you're going to do the whole quill and ink deal. Ointments, baths, things like that. I think there's soaps in here too. And then at the beginning he always has a little thing about witchcraft and blah blah blah, because I mean, if you're going to use this, you would think you would have a basic understanding, but just in case you don't, it's already in there, so that's kind of nice. And to go with this, I always use with this book his Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. This is extremely helpful and extremely just so useful. I use it constantly. Even just things that you would normally use in the kitchen anyways. I usually just raid my kitchen cupboard, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, beans. Right there. So, I find this to be a very valuable resource. I'd recommend it. Absolutely. Another one that's actually kind of more, I think, fun is his Magical Household. Lots of lore, lots of interesting factoids. So if you are moving, there's a part in here that's about the beliefs around moving, and just some ideas for rituals for cleansings and blessings for the new home, things like that. And also certain beliefs that, I don't know, I like to subscribe to, like never moving a broom from one house to another when you move, and just to buy a new one, or if you absolutely can't, bring it in through the window, things like that. So really cool. So sort of to build on the encyclopedia thing, I don't know how much weight we can really put into books like this, but one of the first books that I actually found at the library, this is my own copy, but Barbara Walker's The Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. I don't know how reliable her research is. Some of the things in this book, I don't know if they're really well researched or if they're just ideas, but this is a massive book with a lot of interesting and kind of entertaining information. Even if some of it's not correct, at least it's a place to start, and then you can research yourself from there, from other sources as well, just to build on and maybe tweak some of the information. But I've always found this book extremely interesting, and also some of the pictures are very interesting. She also has another one, kind of a, like it goes with it, is the Dictionary of Symbols and Sacred Objects. This one's a little bit less exciting, but a lot of good information in it. There's also rituals in here, baptism, blessings, Candlemas, lots of neat stuff, some silly pictures, but still a valuable resource with some interesting things in it. I have a lot of books like that. I haven't really found anything new to myself in here because, did I pick this up or did my husband pick this up? This was picked up more recently, and a lot of it is kind of basic stuff that most people would know already, like magic squares, maiden, things like that, just open it randomly. But it's good if you're just new to the craft, just to get some basic information. So, and I actually really enjoy Drina Dunwich. So, not a bad book. So on to some classics. This is a book that I think, again, most witches, or Wiccans I guess, should have. When God Was a Woman is a classic, and it has so much information. It is very, it reminds me of a university level book. I would definitely say it's kind of dry, but the information is really good. And when you get to kind of the more interesting chapters, there's a lot of good information in there. And you can pick, I picked this up used at a used bookstore for a couple bucks. So as well as that, another classic for every witch's bookshelf is The Chalice and the Blade. This is again a classic, very similar kind of idea to When God Was a Woman, just in the way it reads, I mean, and it's very in-depth, so I like this one a lot. And again, just pick it up used, it's not very expensive. I don't have a lot of books on the witch craze, just because it's so hard to read about it. It's so sad. But this book was very easy to get through and very light. By Anne Barstow, Witch Craze. I wouldn't say enjoyed, but I got through this one pretty easily. And there's a lot of really surprising and fascinating information in here. And it was very, very good. So I would recommend that one. There's a lot more scholarly works on the witch hunts, but I liked this one just for my purposes. I don't want to get too deep into it and get too depressed. So some other valuable books that I've found are, to build on this one, is her how-to. So Witchcraft, I don't know if you can see the title, is very, very good. I wouldn't really say for beginners, maybe a little bit beyond beginners. So it's very nice and beautiful, and just the way it's laid out is beautiful. I absolutely adore this one. I constantly have bookmarks in all my books. Another classic would be Aradia. Very interesting, very, very beautiful, weird as well, I'm not gonna lie. I actually had to fight through some parts, but it's also a classic. I think everyone should at least attempt it. And then we've got some other classics. Gerald Gardner, oh my goodness. I gotta order more of his books, but not the easiest read in the world, not the smoothest. It kind of rambles at parts. We're just like, oh my gosh, get to the point. But very, very good. And a classic. And it's Gerald Gardner, and we have to love him because without him we wouldn't have Wicca. And it's part of my goal to get all of his works and read them all. Even his fiction. We'll call it fiction. And then another classic is Power of the Witch. This I read a long time ago for the first time, and I found it really difficult to get through, and it didn't really speak to me at first. But now that I'm older and more experienced, now I enjoy it a lot more and get a lot more out of it than I did before. But that's, again, everyone has a different style and a different approach. So we also have some fun stuff. If you can get a hold of this book, I really, really recommend it. It was really interesting and really fun. And Sybil Leek is, I would say, the most traditional witch. I wouldn't call her a Wiccan maybe, but she's really interesting. She has a lot of interesting things to say. I picked up a beat up copy of this online. I can't remember for how much. Not much, but well worth it. Very, very interesting. She also has her complete Art of Witchcraft, which I wouldn't call it a how-to guide really, but so much information and so interesting of just how things used to be. It's a lot different than the Wicca we know today. And as well, to build on that, oh, look who we have here. Doreen. So I picked this up at a used bookstore, and I keep saying that. Natural magic is a lot of, well, it's exactly what it says. basically. And there's a lot of really cool information about nature and how you can take a lot from just what you see and just what feels natural and right. And some very interesting stuff in there. I like this one a lot. I'm trying to show you a picture. Ooh, that's an interesting photo or picture. And then at the same time I grabbed this, the cover looks horrendous, I'm not gonna lie. But it's the Frosts, and I did not expect to find this, and it's very interesting / funny. There's some pretty neat stuff about like getting ahead in your career and just weird ways to shake someone's hand so they'll remember you, and mental cues and stuff like that. I would take it with a grain of salt, but very fun. So, and again, it's the Frosts, so you have to check it out. Oh, I left something on my bookshelf I'm going to grab because it's one of my favorite books. Sorry. Firechild by Maxine Sanders is like her memoir, and it has so much in it that you're going to raise your eyebrow and go, did that really happen? But whether it did or not, I don't think it really matters for the point of the book, and it is an amazing read. I could not put this down. Like, it was amazing. And again, how much of it was actually what it sounds like, I don't know, but it was still really good, and I still really enjoyed it, and I would recommend this to anybody. And it's actually a newer book. It's not an old one. It came out, I believe, fairly recently, because I did have to wait for it. Yeah, 2008. Oh, sorry, 2007. This is the second edition, so. And in addition to that, I mean, I actually haven't got through this one very far yet. I just got this fairly recently. Learning the tarot, I think, is pretty important for myself. Just, I want to be proficient at that, and I'm kind of not. So I've heard really good reviews about this one, so I'm in the process of reading it, and when I am through it, I will definitely let you guys know how it goes. But I enjoy the tarot a lot, and I want to know more about it, so I'm working on that. Yeah, so that's just kind of an intro of me and some of my book collection for now. There's a lot more on that shelf, but not all of it is my favorites. This is kind of just what I think is kind of the creme of the crop. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know, and we will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.